Hey everyone, this is Adrian from my channel Random Drop. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe. We're more than halfway to 1,000 subscribers. From there, this channel's quality and content can grow quite significantly, and I hope that you stick around. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Random Drop, and today I want to talk about Doom: The Dark Ages. Let's get into it. So Doom 2016 was a return to form. Back when games were all Call of Duty, all very scripted and linear and very basic games where you just followed an NPC around, Doom 2016 came back and brought back secrets and level design. It didn't really hold the player's hand in any way, no regenerating health, and a game speed that was unheard of. The game was so goddamn fast compared to everything else. And with Doom Eternal, they doubled down on that, going even further with their game mechanics, creating this incredibly complex dance with how the flamethrowers, the armor systems, the dashing, and all that worked to the point where it pushed a lot of people away. It was not this simple game anymore where you could just get the super shotgun and blast guys. It was a more in-depth system, which a lot of people appreciated. And with Doom: The Dark Ages, again, they are trying to change the formula. Not necessarily trying to slow it down, but they are definitely trying to make it less complicated. As again, with Doom Eternal, there were like 6 or 7 cooldowns you were constantly rotating and keeping a track of. With Doom: The Dark Ages, it's just not that game anymore. While I think Doom: The Dark Ages still feels good and is very fun, I think overall I like Eternal more. When Eternal came out, there were a lot of people who still liked Doom 2016 more. And this is just going to be another case of that, as now we have 3 very distinct flavors of Doom. And I think they're all amazing compared to like the slop we would have gotten in the past. And the path that the studio has been on, I think is the right one. And they've been trying to reinvent themselves every time and not necessarily stay stuck in the same thing. I do want to talk about Doom: The Dark Ages, my impressions with the game so far, and kind of overall how I feel about it. As again, I really like the game and I think it's really good, but at points I feel really disappointed and mixed. And honestly, I'm just gonna have to hit it point by point, as it's really hard to describe my feelings in just a couple of lines, as I feel really complicated with this game. So let's get into it. So I went back and played Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal right before the Dark Ages came out, and I found, really honestly, I found myself liking Doom 2016 more. Because yes, when you play Doom Eternal, the game is totally different and feels totally different, as the game is now telling you how to play, and it's all about expressing your skill in the systems they've built. While Doom 2016 was, you're just like a barrel of annihilation, you feel really overpowered, and the super shotgun is going to solve 99% of your problems. In Doom 2016, I found myself just running at the enemy constantly and destroying everything. In Doom Eternal, I was constantly running away and trying to make plans on how to get armor back and get ammo so I can take out this enemy with this certain gun, and then comboing it to this next thing, and so forth. And when Doom Eternal's going and you're flowing through all of its systems, it feels fucking incredible. I liken it to something like Devil May Cry. Honestly, that game's campaign is just missing a triple S sexy style smoking meter on the top left, and every combat arena I would probably have enjoyed way more. Doom: The Dark Ages feels more like God of War, as in Devil May Cry again is this very stylistic action game with all these systems and crazy in-depth shit you could really get into if you wanted to. While God of War is still a character action game, just like Devil May Cry, it's a lot simpler and heavier, and you don't have as much expression as you would a Devil May Cry game. Doom: The Dark Ages is the Doom series God of War to a Devil May Cry, which is Doom Eternal. That's kind of how I feel overall about it. It's a bit slower and there's just way less skill expression. There are systems that they did simplify overall, which I think makes sense, like the alt fire system. At a certain point in Doom Eternal and all the rest of the Doom games, you never use the regular fire and you're always just using the alt fire and everything. So why not just make them 2 different weapons? And that's what they did with Doom: The Dark Ages, is every weapon has 2 versions of themselves and you just swap
between them, rather than this weird thing where you're like trying to swap attachments in Doom Eternal. And in Eternal, again, when you found the attachment you liked, you rarely ever swapped off of it. And whenever you equipped the weapon, you never just left clicked. You were always using an alternate fire, because if you were using a regular shot, it was fucking pointless, honestly. The next thing I want to get into is the level design. Doom 2016, very maze-like. You get really lost, secrets all over the place, and they were really, some of them were like really hard to find. And some secrets even gave you weapons that were later in the game super early, which was an awesome feeling when you would find one. Then we get to Doom Eternal, which uses a mix of maze-like structures with a mix of linearity, but the map is a lot easier to read, secrets are a lot easier to find. All the fights are built around like these combat arenas. Very obvious rooms that you walk in, there's things to grab on, jump on, and they're these specifically designed arenas to do Doom Eternal's combat, as again, Doom Eternal's combat is very specific on how it's designed. Certain enemies have certain weak points, and they want you to use certain weapons at certain times and so forth. And the way you flow through that and flow through a level, it matters a lot where you're fighting and how you're fighting. With Doom the Dark Ages, they use mostly linear levels with really wide open levels. But gone is like those designed arenas, because your movement's so limited that why design an arena? But now you get this weird thing where you're like sliding around this big environment and you're like surrounded by enemies constantly, getting shot in the back and so forth. I feel like I have way less control, honestly, with Doom the Dark Ages. The levels seem to be going a lot more for spectacle as you look, and there's these incredible vistas and things going on as you play through the levels. Again, you lose that like really maze-like Dark Souls 1 environment where everything's interconnected, and then those combat arenas are just like not that interesting compared to like Doom Eternals. So again, it's very designed around like you just kind of sliding around an environment, and I just like really don't enjoy that. I would rather have linear levels where like there's these arenas that are very specifically designed for very specific fights. But right now it just kind of feels like I'm wandering around fighting things, and I just never got that feeling. I never hit that flow state I would with Doom Eternal or Doom 2016. And all the secrets and things to find on the map in Doom the Dark Ages feel checklisty. They don't feel special or powerful at all. When you would find a new attachment or upgrade, or one of those Sentinel chips or some shit to upgrade the Praetor suit, it felt really good in 2016 and Eternal. It felt awesome. It just doesn't feel good running around finding caches of gold everywhere and whatnot. Even though it's really useful stuff, like it's not exciting finding my 4th ruby in one level and so forth. It just doesn't feel good, especially when they're like super obvious or like super simple puzzles, and they're very easy to find on the map because you just look on the map and oh, that's how you get there. I never feel like we're lost or anything like that in the levels, where like in Doom 2016 I would get that constantly. You would be like, oh fuck, where do I have to go and how do I get there? Oh, what if I jump here? Oh, cool, there's like an item here and all that. No, man, like the levels are very laid out and easy to read in Doom the Dark Ages, and it makes it feel checklisty, where you're just sliding around picking things up. Again, I'm enjoying the combat when I get to those spots, but overall it feels unfulfilling in a weird way. The best parts of the game, honestly, in the Dark Ages is when you fight those elite monsters that give you big upgrades, and it feels rewarding when you beat them, and the fight is cool because it's kind of like a mini boss fight, and there's like mechanics and multiple mobs running around, and that's probably like the only time where I feel like I'm hitting that flow state in Doom the Dark Ages. As you play through these levels, again, I feel like it's just very focused on skeptical, with the added dragon thing and the weird turret sections and all that. It sucks, honestly. It's like cool like thinking about it, but when you're actually playing and doing the dumb dodges with the dragon, or having to shoot 3 spears at the giant thing on the turret, it's not fun anymore, man. It's going back to that Call of Duty shit that like we got away from, and like for some reason it's back now. I would rather development time be spent on levels and monsters and things like that, unique glory kills or something, instead of like that weird shit. Like I like the idea of navigating a level differently and non-linearly with the dragon, but the weird minigame where you're like having to dodge and shoot the fucking ships and all that is just like, it's like cool to think about, but it's like not fun to play. It's cool to see, but it sucks to do, as I would describe it. And some people were really mad with Doom the Dark Ages, thinking they were like slowing it down. No, the game is really fast. It's actually incredibly fast, but there are things that make it feel really slow or just not as fulfilling. So the first thing is how the character navigates the environment. You're super nerfed in terms of movement and jumping. You're a faster version of the Doom 2016 character, but not with like the jumps or the ups in any way, as you don't even have a double jump. Maybe you get that at the very end of the game, who knows? But right now, for what, like the 10 hours I've played, is most of the game is like you on tank treads. It feels like your character has fucking tank treads on his ass and you're just like rolling around everywhere shooting, as you really don't ever need to jump. Not that I want platforming, but I want to be able to jump over enemies and shit and like use my full movement, as just feeling so grounded just doesn't feel good. Now the shield charge is really good for movement and you being able to leap and charge across, and it feels incredible when you do. And a lot of the issue comes from them just not committing. I would rather have them fully committed to a way slower game, but everything feels super crunchy and impactful, and parries really fuck shit up, and blocking super important. You could like do the Space Marine version of Doom, but you get this weird thing where like, oh, he's still incredibly fast and nimble, but he feels like I'm playing the fucking Space Marine from Warhammer Space Marines with tank treads. It just doesn't compute and doesn't feel good, man. I feel like I'm shackled while I'm playing the game. It's like a really odd feeling. And again, if the game was just fully committed and just did the big fucking chunky steps and like run to a demon and just fuck his shit up, I would probably have way more fun with that, honestly, and it'd be way more different and interesting. And people would bitch and complain, but oh man, you can make that parry feel so good, you can make all that feel so good, and I think you could have won people over, honestly. But we have this weird middle ground where you're just like really fast, but you're still supposed to feel really weighty, and it just like rips me out of it and pulls me out of it. It feels like I'm limited because I know the kit I had in Eternal. It's just an odd feeling, and what adds more to that feeling is the parry system. So the parry system is a good addition to the game, and I like it, but it's too giving, and there's too much slowdown when you pull it off. This goes with the melees as well, as every time you melee, there's a big slowdown at trying to get impact out of it. But no, it doesn't feel that way. It still feels like I'm hitting them with a wiffle bat, but now I have to fucking watch it, and it's super slow, as because I'm just there 3 times going brr, brr, brr. Okay, oh, I can do the execution now. Awesome. It doesn't feel good at all. And this is with the parry as well. When you do a parry, a big ass slowdown. And the reason I know this is such a big problem is I saw videos of someone modding out the slowdown on parries and melees, and it looks fucking incredible. It's Doom Eternal speed. That character's flying the fuck around and just beating the shit out of everything, and it feels and looks awesome. But this weird slowdown and stopping when you parry and melee they added, just, I don't know why they did it. I think they thought they were being impactful, but it actually like removed all the impact, and it just doesn't feel good. And I wish there was an option to remove it in the game rather than having to use cheat engine to remove it. And I'm coming off really negative here, but overall, like, I'm still having fun with the game, but I'm looking at these systems and playing them and be like, wow, this could have been like way better. This could have been Eternal level. But again, there's like all these weird choices that I just don't agree with, honestly. The parry and melee system slowdown completely kills the momentum or any flow state you're trying to get into, man. It just doesn't feel good, and it really makes me mad when I was watching that video being like, holy shit, that game looks way more fun. And maybe it was a discussion in development and someone's like, no man, this game is too fast, you gotta slow it down with the melees and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. They need to add an option where you can just remove the slowdown and toggle it off. And another thing with the parry system that just doesn't work is the fact that you can only parry green things. There's a lot of enemies that are shooting walls of projectiles at you, and when you get up on them and they spawn the wall on you, and you can only parry the thing on the very fucking left. It's this weird thing where like, okay, you can only parry very specific things, and it's like not punishing at all, but you have to like slide all the way to the left and parry this, and slide all the way to the right, parry that. So they make everything like a bullet hell to like compensate for the parry. I would honestly rather have parry window be very hard to pull off, or much harder to pull off, and have the block be stronger, and have the option to be able to parry everything. As my first reaction when something is shooting right in front of me is to try to parry it immediately and not block, actually. As all these parry games have been coming out, where like that's the first thing you want to fucking do with an attack. When you see it's coming at you, and it's coming at you very slowly, mind you, I want to parry it, but then it's like, I tried to parry and it's like, oh, it's red. Fuck me, never mind. It's just like this weird thing again where it's just like, it just doesn't feel good. And honestly, it would feel better if I could just parry everything. And I don't understand why they like chose this weird thing where it's like, all these specific colors are here the ones you parry, and we're just gonna like make it a weird bullet hell. Again, I would rather them have like narrowed it down, as everything in this game feels super wide. The parry window is wide. When you go into a field of enemies, they're fucking everywhere and spread out and so forth. There's so many things where just like everything is just so wide and open, and I really just think this game needed a bit more focus in the gameplay, like how you like approach things and all that. And that's how I feel about it. Again, I came off super negative. The game is like good, but there is a reason why it's like not selling as well as the original, even with Game Pass. I was super excited when this was announced, and seeing like the changes they were making, I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And all the changes they made and ideas they have are good, but the way they implemented and tuning, like there's a version of this game where there's like a director's cut or a second pass where they like just tweak some things and game feels way better. But currently it feels like a step down. It just doesn't feel on the level of 2016 or Eternal. Even the Dark Ages feels like, oh, here's like a neat concept, but it's like the first pass of that concept, and they didn't really like fully think things through or something. I'm not sure. And it's not like Doom Eternal didn't have problems. I have lots of problems with that system, and it's probably a bit too much, but overall, like, that game is so unique and fun to play, and now I just want to go back and play those DLCs because I never got to play it. Doom the Dark Ages, I feel like a bit bored, and like when I'm traveling these levels that are so checklisty, I kind of like start losing interest, man. I have yet to have the feeling that I got when I got the siege weapon in 2016, or I would ice bomb a group of enemies, then flamethrower them, and then throw some grenades, and they explode into like 1,000 armor shards and just make me feel like such a badass. There's just like none of that in Doom the Dark Ages, and that's sad to see. Doom the Dark Ages is a like good game. It's like fun to play, but it should be spectacular, especially the ideas they had could have been spectacular. How it came out, again, feels like it just needs some more tuning, some tweaking, and another pass on the design. But hey, let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next random drop.